price of the funeral, find out how much it's going to cost. Just really about the costs of it, like, because got to get that set up as well, like, somehow or other. I'd rather do it than get my daughter to do it. I'd love to know about, what do they call it? When you're set on fire, the cremation. I prefer to be cremated, but I know that's very expensive. And what happens when you have no money, like me? Like, you know, my daughter's only in school, like, who's going to pay for it, and what do? They don't bury you if you don't have the money. I just want to know what happens.
The opening moments of Jackie's story, and this is a documentary which will air on TV3 tomorrow night. I'm joined in studio by the Jackie in question, Jackie Crowe, and by the producer of the documentary, who is Lydia Murphy, and also Jackie's daughter Rebecca is sitting with us in studio as well. So good morning, everybody. Let's talk about you, Jackie, first of all, and what happened to you, because this diagnosis that you had of cancer, which will ultimately be terminal, hence your interview with the funeral director as to what it might cost for a funeral, it came like a bolt from the blue.
It did. Like, I was sick for a few weeks, and all it was just passing gas kind of a thing, and a bit of blood coming out, and I went to my doctor after maybe 3 weeks, and March 6th, and he sent me a letter in for me to have a colonoscopy, and I went in on July 4th for the colonoscopy. They found the cancer, and the 5th I had a surgery, and they took it away to send it away for histology or something like that. And next thing,
they tell you that you have tumours.
Yeah, I had tumours in my lungs and my anus and rectum. The big problem are the ones that are secondary. The secondary ones are in my lungs, and they're the big problem. And
that's why they told you that time was not on your side.
Well, they didn't say that either. They said that they were going to start me on chemo, and it would eliminate my tumours, and it would cut short down on my life. And I was thinking, okay, my mum lived to be 70, I'll live to be 60, like, that's cutting it. But then I got my records, and I sent them away to another oncologist that I know, and he told me that the cancer was highly resistant to chemo, and it would be back within a year. And then I know the truth, and I went through it, I suppose, like everybody else does, the anger, the crying, the praying and disbelief, the everything, you know. But then you get on with it.
One of the reasons why you're doing this documentary is obviously anyone who has symptoms, they should go for as early a diagnosis as possible. That's an important thing. But from your own point of view, the question of life insurance and what happened to you.
Well, when I lost my job, we were struggling, like, on unemployment, and I had my mortgage, and, you know, I had my daughter. She was going to school, which was like 10 miles away, because, you know, you have to do the line up now to get into the secondary schools, stay overnight and all that, and there was no room in the school for her, so I put her in a school which was 10 miles away, which meant I was driving 40 miles a day, which was petrol money. That was first to get her to school, and then the mortgage was second, like education, then the house over her head, and I just kept trying to pay, you know, scrimping, saving.
But you had to therefore start thinking, what do I cut? What do I cut? What do I not pay?
Well, we cut back on everything before I did cut back on the insurance. I really did. Like, we had no heat. Even when it was freezing, my pipes froze and burst because we had no heat. We were sleeping in the living room, you know, just body heat keeping us warm kind of a thing. And we had cut back on everything. Then when it came down to it, I come to a deal with the bank, and I was paying €80 a week. And I was doing grand with that, and then some other guy called me up and said that wasn't adequate, I had to pay 125, and I was like, hello, I'm on unemployment, I can't afford anything. I said, I can't afford 125. And he said, well, then he was going to pass me on to the, you know, where bad debts go to or something. So then I stopped paying the mortgage altogether. I said, like, this is going to be a fight now. I can't come up with 125. And I told me, like, once she had done her leaving in June, I'd be all right. Like, that was €60 from petrol money. I could, you know, put it back towards my mortgage, and they wouldn't accept that either. So I just stopped paying it.
I mean, this is on top of everything else. You've got the recession biting, you lose your job, you're struggling to get the kids through just the normal routine of life, and then you have your difficulties with the bank. Let's fast forward quickly. Have you resolved those difficulties with the bank? Because there was, as you know, a lot of coverage of your story.
Well, thanks be to God to you and your show. David Hall got involved, and he's like a knight in shining armour. Oh my God. I have Treasure, she opens the letters, she forwards them on to him. She's doing the ombudsman for me with my insurance, and I haven't a care in the world as far as those two things are concerned. Like, they're looking after everything.
Yeah.
But
so that aspect of it, it's taken some worry off your shoulders at this point. The business with the bank.
It has.
You're not going to worry yourself anymore with that.
Well, I think Coolad or something. There's a company that are going to buy. It's like the council are kind of like going to buy the house, and then we can rent it back.
So that is a resolution, which gives you some reassurance.
Yeah.
In terms of the life assurance and the fact, how far behind were you? How much in arrears were you?
I'd stopped paying it that Christmas, and I told them I would pay it again in June when she had finished. And then, of course, I got sick in March, and I was 6 months behind. So Treasure had got onto them, and they said to send in the back payments that I owed. So we sent in the cheque for the 200 and something. It was 200. I can't remember. 200 and something euros anyway. We sent in the cheque, and they sent out all this documentation. We got doctors to fill it in and everything, and then they cashed the cheque, and I said yes. You know, I was like big.
But at this point, the insurers knew that you'd now had an illness that might be life-threatening.
Yeah, I'd sent them in the documentation.
So you were very honest about all of this.
Oh, yeah. No point in telling lies.
And then what? They pulled it?
Yeah, they wouldn't reinstate me. They sent the cheque back. So.
And you'd been paying this life insurance for how long?
Since I bought my house, nearly 10 years.
That is the subject of a complaint, anyway, which is being processed. So we'll see how that resolves itself. But, I mean, this heaped more worry on you, because you were thinking, well, after I go, there will be money there for my life insurance policy, which will
pay off the house, and my daughter will have a home. Like, I worked all my life from my home, and it's gone.
You never thought for a moment that anything like this could happen to someone like you, who'd always done the right thing? Yeah,
healthy, outgoing. Like I always said, I was a middle class person. I worked all my life. I had my lovely car. I had to sell. I had an MG 1975 convertible. I had my foreign holiday. I was comfortable. I never needed anything. You know, I was very comfortable. I had a good life.
In making this documentary, why did you decide to, if you like, expose yourself to the viewers?
Just like, when you're dealing with the bank and you're having problems and you lose your job, like everything started going downhill the day I lost my job. Do you know that kind of way? Like things just started, the savings were gone. You know, you just keep trying and trying. And then you, I've lost my train of thought.
It's all right. But you decided anyway to share your story because it is unique, because every story is unique, but it echoes a lot of the difficulties that people are having all around the country. People who had never an expectation of finding themselves in these kind of situations.
It can happen
up against the wall.
Anybody. Like I'm just an average, an average person. And all I needed was a job, and I wouldn't be in trouble with my house and behind with things. And then with the cancer thing, I ended up on the floor doing my last chemo. Like you go in there, like chemo's on. It's cancer is it's growing rapidly in this country, and they're doing nothing to bring in more resources there. Like they don't have enough beds in there if you're sick and you want to lay down. I ended up laying on the floor, and they were telling me I had to get off the floor, and I was like, I can't. I said I have to drive home 2 hours after this sitting, and I can't. Like the resources aren't there for. I don't think they're there. And
yet it was one of the focuses of one of the last ministers was the cancer strategy, to try and make sure that whatever about other services, that the responses to cancer would be would be good, that no matter what happened,
They're
that
not
people
good.
would get adequate care.
I was waiting for a PET scan, and even now, my cancer came back after the 3 months. I have 3 new tumours. I denied having a PET scan because I said I'm not waiting another 2 weeks. Then I have to wait another few weeks to get on chemo again. So I declined having a PET scan because I think I don't want to waste more time waiting. And I know my tumours, like from a scan to a PET scan, I had another one, the other one had grown. And I said, why am I waiting these weeks? Sometimes you have to just move ahead, and say, what's another scan going to show? That the cancer is there, it's got bigger.
Because you believe that you know the course this is taking, so let's deal with it now rather than wait for confirmation.
Yeah, like my mum's cancer was aggressive, and she was diagnosed and she was on chemo within 1 week. I was waiting weeks and weeks and weeks.
So rather than things getting better, things have deteriorated in recent times.
I think it's a shame. I pity anybody else, and if there's not a change, there's going to be a lot more people like me terminal.
Now, meeting you today, you don't strike me as someone who is preoccupied by the terminal nature of your illness.
No, I know I have a few months, and I'm going to make the best of my few months. I was blessed with a bit of time, and I'm making the best of every day of it.
With me in studio is Jackie Crowe, who's the subject of TV3's documentary Jackie's Story, My Life, My Legacy. With me also is Lydia Murphy, producer of the programme, and Jackie's daughter Rebecca is with me as well. We were just reflecting there during the news about, you were saying before that you got time, and that time is precious, because if you'd had a massive heart attack, for instance, and keeled over.
Yeah, I was saying, you go out the door every day, and on July 4th last year, I could have gone out and got hit by a car, and I didn't. I was blessed with time by getting cancer, and I have time. And you just have time to, you look at things differently.
Has it changed your attitude to Rebecca, for example?
Yeah, on a normal day, we'd be going out the door and I'd be roaring at her, Rebecca, your room is a mess. And I still wrote her, Rebecca, your room is a mess, but I love you. And you just take, a lot of people go out the door roaring back something at somebody or something, and I said, and now it's
never to return, perhaps.
Yeah.
And Rebecca, how have you coped with your mother's diagnosis? Well, first of all, with the struggles, the hardship that you had to put up, which you didn't expect growing up, that your family would be confronted with that kind of difficulty.
It was harder than I expected. Come home the weekends and see your mom in bed, she looks so sick and weak, she can't get upstairs to go to the toilet sometimes. Before we had the chair that goes up the stairs now, and she'd be out the back getting sick and everything, and I'd be making food and I'm like, do you want onions? And she'd just be like, no, I don't want food anymore. It was hard to manage. It was harder than what I saw my mom and my nana go through. It was harder than I remembered.
Yeah. And in terms of just coping with the difficulty when your mother lost her job, and there wasn't as much money around, and as a young person, you expect certain things, and it was no longer available to you.
My friends would always want to go out and stuff, and even now, before people knew, I kind of tried to not let people know about money troubles, and I'd still do stuff, and I still try to, if I get a few bits of money here and there, I might try and go get a sandwich or something with my friends instead of going home. But it's just every time you do that, then you feel guilty at night.
How has it affected you now that your mother has gone public with this, and that your battles with the bank and with the insurers and all of that will be known to people? I mean, do you feel liberated by it or oppressed by it?
Well, I don't know. I think everyone has their different opinions. I've read comments here and there, and I think it's just everyone has a different reaction, but I want it public too, that it could be anyone. It could be your sister who gets cancer and she could have a child, or even though I'm not a child anymore, I am 19, but it's still your child and your mother. It's hard.
Do you think very much about what will happen to your mother? I mean, it seems inevitable this cancer will take its course.
Well, I know she only has a few months to go, so we try to make as much fun as we can, coming up here in Dublin now. We had so much fun last night in the hotel, and we try to just go away and go out to buy a hike to my uncle's and just have fun while
it's literally one day at a time.
Yeah, just take it day by day. Some days she has bad days, some days I have to stay home and keep getting her coffee and getting the dog to keep her company and everything. Sometimes she just wants to be alone, and you just have to try and keep up with her mood she's in. It just changes when she's sick sometimes. Some weekends I can come home and she's fine, she'd want to go driving and do this and that, and other weekends I could just be lay on the couch. She's just sick for the weekend, and it's just hard work.
Do you mind telling our listeners how old you are?
I'm 19 years old.
You are a remarkable 19-year-old.
Thanks.
You really are. Very strong. And, you know, having been through what you've been through and knowing what you will go through, you truly are remarkable.
Thank you.
Lydia, I mean, meeting a family like this for the documentary, had you any reservations at all about exposing them to public scrutiny?
Well, I mean, we're very conscious of the fact that, you know, they are in an extremely vulnerable situation and that it is difficult to open up your life in such a way. But I mean, I suppose, you know, you were asking Jackie earlier about why she wanted to participate in the documentary, and it's actually something that we got her to address in a question on screen. Frances Fitzgibbon is the reporter who would have done all the interviews with Jackie and co-produced with me. And, you know, she wanted to highlight what she feels are, you know, the cutbacks in the health service. And that was very important for her. And I suppose, in a way, I hope it's been empowering for Jackie as well to be able to find a voice about the things that have gone on in her life where she maybe feel that she didn't have control over, like things with the bank or with the insurance and the health service care as well. And, you know, we've been very conscious to try and be very upfront, and I kind of look at the documentary as sort of something that we've done together as opposed is something that just I've worked on, and I know anybody else in TV3 who worked on it, whether that was Joan the camerawoman or Mandy who did the editing, you know, a lot of time and effort went into trying to be as sensitive as possible to their story. And like, even though I've spent a lot of time with them, I've obviously heard their story, even just sitting here in studio again with them today, I'm just, you know, bowled over by how extraordinary they both are, you know.
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing the documentary tomorrow night for, you know, all the right and the wrong reasons, because I know it's going to sadden me enormously, having got to know you a little bit this morning, to know what lies ahead. But then we have to reflect, as you do, that who knows what lies ahead.
Oh, a brilliant funeral. I'm planning my own funeral. That's what's ahead of us.
All right. Well, look, Rebecca, thank you very much for coming in. And Jackie, thank you very much for coming in.
Thank you.
Lydia Murphy, who's the producer of the documentary Jackie's Story, My Life, My Legacy, which airs on TV3 tomorrow night. Thank you.